In one of his most striking readings during the 1930s, Edgar Cayce described something that shocked everyone in the room. The hours before sleep are the most powerful moments to reprogram not only your mind, but also the health of your entire body. Imagine this. While most people simply collapse into bed, unaware of the immense spiritual and biological processes unfolding, Cayce explained that what you think, feel, and even pray right before sleep determines how your cells repair, how your organs function, and how your soul aligns with its divine blueprint. This was not theory. It came from trance sessions where he accessed what he called the Akashic Records, the universal library of the soul. Doctors, skeptics, and desperate families witnessed results that modern science at the time could not explain. And yet, today, neuroscience and psychosomatic medicine are finally beginning to confirm what Cayce revealed nearly a century ago. But here's the detail no one expected. Cayce taught that healing does not start with medicine or external remedies. It begins with the conscious direction of the mind right before surrendering to sleep. During one session that forever changed a family's destiny, he told a mother, who had nearly lost hope for her sick child, that every night, just before drifting into unconsciousness, she should project thoughts of wholeness, visualize the child radiant with vitality, and pray with absolute faith. Within weeks, visible improvements astonished even the attending physicians. This is why Cayce became known not only as the sleeping prophet, but also as a pioneer of holistic healing that merged spirit, mind, and body in a way never seen before. What does this mean for you? It means that the minutes before you close your eyes tonight may carry more power than hours of treatment, more weight than any external influence, and more transformation than countless restless days. Cayce explained that when the body relaxes and the conscious mind releases its grip, the subconscious opens like fertile soil, ready to receive seeds of health, peace, and renewal. Those who went to bed angry, fearful, or resentful would wake up heavier, weaker, and spiritually blocked. Those who chose forgiveness, gratitude, and the vivid imagination of health would wake up recharged, often reporting relief from chronic pain or emotional burdens. And here is where the tension rises. During the Great Depression, when families across America were broken by financial ruin, Cayce's readings brought not just hope, but practical guidance. He reminded them that while the external world may be filled with scarcity and suffering, the inner world, especially before sleep, was where miracles could be programmed. A businessman from New York who had lost everything came to him desperate and ill. Cayce told him that unless he changed the way he spoke to himself before sleep, no amount of medication or financial effort would restore his health. Weeks later, after applying this nightly discipline of programming his mind with faith and images of renewal, his energy returned, and soon after, so did his ability to rebuild his career. This pattern repeated itself in Virginia Beach, in Hopkinsville, and in countless sessions that left witnesses stunned. If you are watching this right now, pause for a second and think, what are you planting in your subconscious every night? Is it fear, anger, regret, or is it peace, healing, and connection to the divine source of life? Cayce's message is clear. What you feed your mind before sleep becomes the architecture of your health, your destiny, and your soul's expression. And if this resonates with you, let me ask, have you ever tried to consciously direct your thoughts before sleeping? Share it in the comments below, because I'm reading every one of them, and I'll leave a little heart on your comment. And don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs this message. Together, we can spread the wisdom of Edgar Cayce and remind the world of the extraordinary power that lies in the simplest moments before sleep. Now let's go deeper. Cayce didn't stop at general advice. He offered practical steps. He spoke of aligning the body with proper posture before sleep, suggesting that the spine should be straight and the body comfortable for the channels of energy to remain open. He described the necessity of prayer, not as repetition of empty words, but as a living force that shapes reality. He even explained that the emotions we carry into sleep can open or block the flow of life energy, which he often referred to as the vital forces. Families reported that by shifting their pre-sleep rituals, reading scripture, expressing gratitude, or simply visualizing health, they experienced measurable transformations. What was dismissed as faith healing by critics later began to resemble what modern psychology now calls the placebo effect, though Casey insisted it was far more than suggestion. It was the soul commanding the body to obey divine order. Casey also warned that neglecting this sacred moment before sleep could have severe consequences. He explained that when unresolved negativity is carried into the subconscious, it can manifest as illness, restlessness, or even chronic conditions over time. In one of his most powerful readings of 1932, he told a man who constantly went to bed filled with bitterness that unless he released those thoughts, his body would eventually reflect them through disease. This was not a curse, but a law. What the soul impresses upon the mind, the body expresses in form. To the astonishment of the physicians present, that very pattern unfolded exactly as Casey predicted. And yet, when the man finally embraced forgiveness, gratitude, and nightly affirmations of health, his condition began to shift. This reinforced Casey's conviction that healing is not only about what doctors prescribe, it is about the inner dialogue you carry with you into sleep every night. During the war years, when fear and loss filled American homes, Casey continued to emphasize the same principle. Soldiers' families wrote letters to the Association for Research and Enlightenment in Virginia Beach, asking what they could do while their loved ones were away in dangerous battles. Casey's reply was always anchored in the same truth. Each night, as you close your eyes, project thoughts of safety, light, and divine protection. Mothers later testified that their sons returned home, describing uncanny moments when they felt surrounded by an invisible shield of strength, often at the exact times their families were praying before bed. These stories spread quietly, strengthening the idea that human consciousness, especially in the threshold between waking and sleep, carries an influence beyond what most of us dare to imagine. Modern science now echoes this truth. Neuroscientists studying neuroplasticity confirm that the brain replays and consolidates patterns of thought and emotion during sleep, hardwiring them into behavior and even affecting the body's immune system. What Casey revealed under trance nearly a century ago is now visible under brain scans. When he said, "Mind is the builder," he meant it literally. Your health, your vitality, and even your future are constructed by the images, beliefs, and emotions you impress upon your subconscious. And sleep is the most fertile moment of all, because the conscious mind finally stops resisting, allowing seeds of transformation to sink deep. Consider this. Casey described the subconscious as the bridge between the physical body and the higher self. This bridge becomes fully open during the moments of transition into sleep. If anger, doubt, and fear cross that bridge, they pollute the soul's creative energy, shaping the body in destructive ways. But if faith, peace, and gratitude are the travelers, they bring divine order into every cell. One family in Ohio recounted how, after years of illness, they followed Casey's guidance. Each night before bed, they spoke affirmations of life, visualized their child walking and laughing, and prayed together. The transformation that followed could not be denied. The child's strength returned, and the family's faith deepened permanently. These were not isolated cases. This pattern repeated across countless readings, proving a principle that is as practical as it is mystical. The question is, are we willing to apply it? Tonight, as you prepare to sleep, you hold a choice that Casey insisted was greater than any external cure. You can either carry with you the residue of the day, complaints, worries, disappointments, or you can deliberately choose to release them, forgive them, and replace them with visions of vitality and harmony. This practice is not about pretending life is perfect. It is about aligning with the higher law of spirit over matter. Casey's readings emphasized that even during national crises like the Great Depression, individuals who practiced this nightly discipline not only preserved their health but also inspired others through their resilience. And here's the striking part. This teaching is not confined to spirituality alone. It has practical applications that touch psychology, medicine, and even family relationships. When someone programs their mind before sleep with forgiveness, the nervous system calms, reducing stress hormones. When they visualize health, immune responses improve. When they offer gratitude, the heart rate slows, aligning the body with coherence. Casey could not use the language of modern science, but his message remains timeless. The last 5 minutes before you sleep may determine not only how you wake up tomorrow, but how you live the rest of your life. One of the most profound aspects of Casey's guidance on sleep was the idea that the body itself listens to the language of the mind. He described the human system as a living instrument, constantly tuned by the vibrations of thought and emotion. Just as a musician must carefully tune an instrument before a performance, we must carefully tune our minds before entering the stage of sleep. If we allow discord, the body resonates with illness. If we allow harmony, the body resonates with health. In Virginia Beach, people began to adopt nightly routines inspired by Casey's readings. Families would gather, pray, read passages of scripture, and then speak affirmations of wellness and peace before bedtime. Witnesses reported remarkable improvements, not only in physical conditions, but also in relationships, tempers, and emotional stability. The home became calmer, sleep became deeper, dreams became more meaningful, and all of this was anchored in a simple but powerful discipline, programming the mind before sleep. Casey went further, explaining that dreams themselves were not random illusions, but the subconscious processing of these nightly seeds. He often told clients that if they wanted to understand their health, they should carefully observe their dreams. Many people later confirmed that when they filled their minds with images of light, healing, and divine presence before bed, their dreams reflected harmony and guidance. Conversely, when they went to sleep troubled and resentful, their dreams were chaotic, confusing, even disturbing. This connection between pre-sleep thoughts and dream content reinforced the idea that the mind is actively shaping health while the body rests. For Casey, sleep was not an escape from reality. It was the workshop where reality itself was rebuilt. During the post-war years, as America tried to rebuild both its economy and its spirit, many sought Casey's advice not just for physical ailments, but for emotional wounds. Veterans struggling with trauma were encouraged to release their fears before sleep and replace them with affirmations of peace. Families grieving losses were told to pray for comfort and envision reunion with loved ones in spirit. These practices often led to extraordinary reports: veterans finding relief from nightmares, widows receiving comfort through meaningful dreams, children waking up without the same fear they had carried for months. For Casey, these were not coincidences, but demonstrations of a spiritual law as old as creation itself. What the soul impresses before sleep, the body and mind express upon waking. Science today calls this pre-sleep suggestion, and countless studies confirm its impact. Athletes visualize successful performance before bed and wake with improved coordination. Students affirm confidence before exams and show better results. Patients who listen to guided relaxation before sleep experience lower pain levels and faster healing. Every one of these findings echoes Casey's words: "Mind is the builder." And while medical journals describe neural pathways and hormonal changes, Casey framed it more simply. What you believe and imagine before you surrender to sleep becomes your reality. The subconscious is like fertile soil. The seed you plant at night will sprout in the morning. So what can you do tonight to align with this timeless truth? Begin with a simple ritual. Before lying down, pause. Breathe deeply. Release the frustrations of the day. Forgive those who hurt you, even if only silently in your heart. Speak words of gratitude, no matter how small. Thankful for a roof, for breath, for the chance to begin again tomorrow. Then visualize yourself healthy, strong, filled with divine light. See your loved ones surrounded by protection and peace. Pray not as repetition, but as connection. As if your words were painting images in the subconscious that angels themselves could carry into reality. This was Casey's wisdom, and it is as available to you now as it was to families in the 1930s who clung to his words during their darkest nights. And remember, this is not about perfection. Casey never said you had to eliminate all fear or doubt instantly. He taught that even the smallest act of programming your mind before sleep could redirect the current of your life. One phrase spoken with sincerity, one visualization held with faith, one prayer whispered in trust, these are enough to begin the transformation. Over time, as you repeat this nightly, your subconscious accepts it as truth, and your body follows suit. Health peace, and resilience become the natural expression of the soul that has chosen harmony over chaos. And the more people practice this, the more it ripples outward, strengthening families, communities, and entire generations. Casey emphasized that this practice was not bound by wealth, status, or education. Whether a farmer in Kentucky, a businessman in New York, or a mother in Ohio, every person had the same ability to direct their subconscious before sleep. In fact, during the Great Depression, when many had no access to expensive doctors or treatments, his words carried even greater weight. You already hold within your mind the instruments of healing. He reminded people that God had placed divine intelligence in every soul, and that through sleep, this intelligence could repair and restore the body when given the right command. This is why so many of his clients, despite external poverty, found inner strength and physical recovery that baffled even their local physicians. In Hopkinsville, his hometown, stories circulated of families who followed his advice with remarkable consistency. They would recite affirmations aloud together before bedtime, such as, "God's life flows through every part of this body," or "Tomorrow I wake renewed and whole." Their children slept more peacefully, and illnesses that had lingered began to fade. Casey was clear that words alone were not magic. They had to be infused with genuine belief and emotional conviction. The subconscious did not respond to empty repetition. It responded to the vibration of faith. For those who truly felt what they affirmed, results often came swiftly and unexpectedly. But perhaps the most mysterious part of Casey's teaching was his description of the soul's activity during sleep. He explained that the soul leaves the confines of the physical body and reconnects with universal consciousness. In this state, it can access wisdom, healing, and spiritual strength far beyond the waking mind. If the soul departs in bitterness, it returns with heaviness. If it departs in gratitude, it returns with radiance. This vision of sleep as a nightly return to the source transformed the way many people approached bedtime. No longer was it just the closing of a day. It was a sacred journey of renewal, a rehearsal of eternity, a chance to realign with divine order. Today, as millions struggle with stress, anxiety, and illness, Casey's insights are more relevant than ever. Sleep problems plague society, with countless people reaching for pills and distractions, unaware of the power they hold in their own minds. But Casey would tell us that no matter how chaotic the world may seem, the quiet moment before sleep is still ours to command. It is the doorway to perfect health, perfect peace, and the unfolding of a divine plan written within every soul. So tonight, before you close your eyes, remember this. Your final thoughts are not random. They are blueprints. They instruct your body how to heal, your mind how to grow, and your spirit how to rise. This is the timeless wisdom of Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet, still calling us to reclaim the hidden power of the subconscious. What you do with this truth will determine not only how you wake tomorrow, but how you live the rest of your days. When Casey was asked why some people's prayers seemed unanswered, his response was direct. Many carried into sleep words of faith, but emotions of fear. The subconscious, he explained, does not obey surface words. It obeys the deeper current of feeling. If someone says, "I am healthy," but inside trembles with doubt, the body receives the vibration of fear, not health. That is why Casey urged his clients to cultivate sincerity before bed. Even a simple phrase like, "God is with me," became powerful when spoken with deep conviction. He reminded them that truth is not measured by eloquence, but by the alignment of mind, heart, and soul in those final moments of the day. Families who practiced this distinction often returned to report astonishing results. Pain diminishing, insomnia fading, and a renewed sense of peace that carried them through crises. He also linked this nightly practice to forgiveness. During several readings, Casey said that unresolved anger, if carried into sleep, poisoned the body over time. He called forgiveness a medicine more powerful than any pill. In one life-changing session, he told a woman that her constant resentment was manifesting as chronic stomach pain. Unless she released those emotions before sleep, no treatment would cure her. The woman took his words seriously, and each night began forgiving in prayer, even those who had hurt her deeply. Over weeks, her condition improved, until the pain was nearly gone. This was a living testimony that forgiveness, programmed into the subconscious at night, could unlock physical healing. Casey also described the role of visualization. Long before psychologists popularized the concept, he instructed patients to see themselves well, to imagine light filling their bodies, to hold an inner picture of health so vivid that the subconscious accepted it as real. One man with severe arthritis was told to visualize himself walking freely each night before sleep. Though progress was slow, he eventually regained mobility far beyond the doctor's expectations. This was not superstition, Casey emphasized, but the natural law of mind-shaping matter. The subconscious is creative, and when given a clear blueprint, it instructs the body to rebuild according to that image. Even today, research confirms that imagery and visualization practiced before sleep influence the body's recovery. Athletes rehearse movements in the mind and show measurable physical improvements. Patients imagine immune cells fighting illness and often recover faster. These findings are echoes of Casey's timeless message. Mind is the builder, and what you hold in consciousness becomes the pattern of your experience. For him, bedtime was not just the end of the day, it was the moment to design tomorrow's health. So if you are listening to this now, imagine what could happen if you chose tonight to release anger, forgive freely, speak gratitude, and picture yourself strong and whole. Imagine the ripple this would create not only in your body, but in your family, your relationships, even in your community. Casey taught that health is not an isolated gift. It spreads. A healed mind brings calm to a household, and a calm household strengthens society. The practice begins in silence, in darkness, in the secret dialogue you carry into sleep. And when enough people honor this moment, entire generations awaken stronger, wiser, and closer to the divine order Casey devoted his life to unveiling. Casey's message remains crystal clear. The final minutes before sleep are sacred, and neglecting them is like leaving the door of your home wide open in the middle of the night. Anything wandering in, the day's stress, bitterness, fear, can enter and take root in the subconscious. But if you guard that doorway with prayer, gratitude, and visualization, only light is allowed to cross. He often compared this moment to planting a garden. No farmer would scatter weeds and expect roses to grow. In the same way, no person should carry anger into sleep and expect to wake in peace. What you sow in thought becomes what you reap in health. This principle, Casey assured, was as reliable as gravity. He also encouraged people to align their nightly practice with scripture. Verses of comfort, spoken with sincerity, acted as living vibrations that shaped the subconscious. Families reported choosing a single verse, repeating it softly before bed, and finding that not only did their health improve, but their dreams became filled with guidance and clarity. For Casey, the Bible was not only history, it was a manual for aligning the mind with divine order, especially before sleep. He reminded seekers that Christ himself spoke of peace before resting, teaching us to close each day not with worry, but with surrender. What is extraordinary is how practical these teachings remain. Modern medicine may describe the effects with terms like parasympathetic activation or cognitive reprogramming, but Casey's wisdom is more direct. Let go, forgive, give thanks, and see yourself whole. Do this each night, and the body will respond. Those who have tried know it is true. Stories of healing continue to surface, not just from the 1930s or 1940s, but from people today who apply the same principles and find that their lives begin to change. So I invite you, tonight, don't simply fall asleep. Take a few moments to program your mind for perfect health. Close your eyes and whisper forgiveness. Fill your heart with gratitude. Visualize light flowing through your body, restoring every cell. And above all, trust that the divine within you hears and responds. This is the timeless legacy of Edgar Casey, a man who showed the world that the mysteries of healing are not hidden in distant temples, but available in the quiet minutes before we surrender to sleep. And if this message has touched your heart, share it in the comments. Tell us how you plan to use your last moments before sleep tonight. I will read every comment and mark it with a little heart. because building this community of seekers is part of the mission. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel and share it with someone who needs healing in their life. Together, we can spread the wisdom that Casey carried from the unseen into the seen, from mystery into daily practice. And perhaps in doing so we may discover that the greatest medicine has been within us all along, waiting for the moment we choose to use it.